Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Poly Live Weekly News for June the 1st. We're back. We're back live. Week off last week for the bank holidays and for Memorial Days with the pre-record. But this week we are back live and kicking, and we've got a great show for you this afternoon. I say it every week because it's who I want to speak to and what I want to know about. And I'm hoping that generally most of you have the same interests as me. So let's cross over to the green room and see the motley crew of people we've got joining us this afternoon. From left to right, that could be my left or your right, but just I'll go through them and they can all wave. We've got Kevin Keeler from Enable UC, analyst, who's going to be talking us through the opportunities in the market for Microsoft Teams. In the middle, I don't think he needs much of an introduction. It was funny, I saw some LinkedIn posts going, "Oh man, you got Jose on, it's going to be great." Jose Mateo in the middle, he's got a real poly MTR there. Okay, so we're gonna go real and show you that, and he's going to hold up stuff and plug stuff in, and hopefully show you some awesome demo of that. And then, of course, the regular newscaster, question asker, and demonstrator extraordinaire. We have David Danto finishing off. A little bit of a haircut, I've been told. It just evened out the top. Mine needs doing, and Kevin's has been done. So this is the lockdown haircut brigade. You may notice a little addition I put down in the bottom corner here, that number. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers on the channel. It's very, very excited. Now, potentially that is a live subscriber count. So here is the call out. We go live every week on Monday between 3 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. CET, and 10 a.m. Eastern. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell so you get notifications so you can join in these great shows that we put out for you to try and help you through lockdown and to make it easier, and to put out some great content for you to help you with that. With that, and again, I'm going to keep an eye on that box, and if we hit 1,000, we're going to get very excited. With that, I'm going to cross over to my first guest and get him on. Kevin, are you there? Can you hear me? Can I hear you?
I am, Neil. Thank you for having me.
So Kevin, you obviously work for Enable UC. You're the co-founder of them, and you specialize in Microsoft Teams and Microsoft as a kind of analyst. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Enable UC and what you do, just to kind of set the scene?
Yeah, sure, Neil. So Enable UC helps organizations and vendors succeed in the Microsoft ecosystem. So, for large enterprises, which we typically work with, we'll help them, with their strategy. If, formerly it was around, OCS, Link, Skype for Business, and now really Microsoft Teams and all the Office 365. And then we'll help them, through the implementation more in a coaching manner, because with large enterprises, they already have a team. And so really we try to help the team, be as successful as possible. And then if you've implemented Teams, we are super passionate about using analytics to figure out what's working and what's not working. And certainly some of the great, devices that Poly has, you can just see how they're being used, how they're not being used, and maybe, what you need to do to kind of get people to get the most out of the investments that they made.
Awesome. And what have you seen? Have you seen any kind of trends? You obviously have a great deal of data and analytics there. Have you seen obviously some trends as people have gone lockdown? We've heard some anecdotal evidence about people accelerating the transition from Skype to Teams because the on-premise couldn't handle it and they had to, relocate everyone to the cloud. Are you seen anything around that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the important thing is, yeah, so there's opinions, which everybody has, and then, that's just based on what they're hearing, or one executive had a good or bad call, and so they form an opinion. And then there's the analytics, but it is very different for each organization. So, if you're not looking at the reports that come out of Skype, if you have it in Teams, you really need to. Um, Certainly what we're seeing is, some organizations had a great Skype for Business implementation, and then even when everybody moved external, they were able to keep up because their edge servers were properly configured and set up to handle it. But you're absolutely right. Some organizations weren't as lucky, and so as everybody went external, they ran into some capacity problems, and that did then drive organizations to either move everybody kind of lockstep to Teams, or move certain workloads like meetings up to Teams. And certainly, as you can imagine, you're seeing a lot more use of video, maybe not for the work context always, but
Mm.
also for the social context.
Okay, I was going to ask actually. So obviously, there's sort of multiple dynamics of teams. We've got the chat and IM and presence and or voice and video. Are we seeing growth in all of those areas, or is one piece kind of growing faster than the other?
No, I would say, once again, it's organization specific, but certainly there's growth across all of the areas. Certainly, the channels and the teams from kind of the persistent chat collaboration piece is being used by organizations to get a lot of information out, COVID-based information, or just information on things like employee engagement, letting employees know around mental health and these types of things, that there's programs available. And also we're seeing, I think in teams, the use of stickers and jiffies and images to create that distance camaraderie. I think a lot of people discount that, but if you're an avid Star Wars fan, or if you love The Simpsons, you can get a feel for your teammates by how they choose to respond in those more image-based manners, right? So certainly, growth of that, but definitely, people are having more meetings. So we're seeing, when you look at the analytics, sometimes their work days are getting extended,
Hmm.
and weekends to some degree are kind of becoming, at least initially, were almost immaterial. You saw, a lot of communication happening on the weekend. Um, but then there's also geographic differences as well. Like certain European countries, do a better job, I think, of protecting their weekends, and North America, maybe there was more blending of Monday to Friday with Saturday
It
and
does
Sunday.
blur into one at the moment. I was saying about school holidays to my partner, and she was sort of saying, well, what's the difference? It's just it's just
Right.
another day. The weekend is just another day. So yeah, it's
Right.
interesting.
Exactly.
Is there any kind of advice or kind of input you can give to both our partner community, our reseller community we have at Poly, and also our customer base, who obviously had to lockstep out of the office and start working from home and move to Teams, and also say the opportunity, for our partners and around our poly sellers for the opportunity for teams.
Yeah, like, let me start with the partners. I think now is the time where organizations should be looking at, they've gone through kind of the critical period where they were just trying to get something working, if their existing infrastructure wasn't up to the task. Now, most, at least larger organizations, are really now at a point where they should look at, okay, well, now how do we help people optimize the work from home experience, and also start the strategic planning, because many organizations that have done surveys of their remote, people current now working remotely, um, for some of these organizations, they've proven that that distributed work can be efficient and effective. And organizations may not choose to, even when it's safe to do so, bring everybody back into the office. So I think from an investment perspective, um, and investing in better audio devices, whether it's easy headsets, or definitely better video devices for people who are going to work a larger percentage of time going forward from remotely. Maybe some people, if they're going to be remote, maybe a desk phone or a collab bar, maybe that investment makes sense. And then for the people returning to the office, I think it's important to know that, and to think about, there's going to be far more hybrid meetings. In the past, you'd have a meeting, and let's say, I don't know, 9 out of 10 people would be in the room, and then one person who is kind of a second class citizen would be remote. I think we're going to see a split more. And so having a Teams room system, with good audio, good video in the room, is really going to let the remote participants, which there's going to be more of, be able to hear everybody and see everybody, and ideally be able to see the content that's being collaborated on. So I think now is the time for partners to make strategic to help organizations make strategic investments. I think for organizations, it's, be open to, spending some money. Like I know everybody went to cut budgets, but spend the money where it's effective, and to tell where it's effective, look at the analytics. So whether you're on Skype for Business or Teams, you really need to be looking at, the adoption metrics, but also the user satisfaction metrics, and see where things are working and where they're not. And a lot of user satisfaction, remember, and adoption, it's not a technical thing. It might be about training, communication, and change management. And Teams has been evolving quickly, and so you really have to help your people to get the most out of it, kind of week after week, as new features kind of come on board.
And I was going to, you led me in nicely there to a question. So you guys obviously specialize in analytics and metrics. That's kind of one of the pieces that you do. So can you
Yeah.
just expand on that a bit, and the kind of services that you guys offer and can offer around that for customers to take use of?
Yeah, so what our approach is, I would say overall, we try to be very pragmatic. So our approach is not to say, okay, let's build another tool. Now, Microsoft has already built in some very good reporting tools inside of Office 365 and Teams. It's evolving, so they've kind of spread the reports out in different admin centers, and some days I think they try to make it as complicated as possible. There are some great third-party tools, but what we've seen in these large organizations is, even if you have the tools or invest in additional tools, people don't seem to be looking at the tools. So reports that you don't look at don't help you. And then even if you look at them, if you really don't understand and can't extract from the reports, like what are the actionable insights? What are they telling me? And what are really the top three things that I should do about this? And then how do I monitor to make sure what I think I'm doing is actually having the results that I want? So really what the service that we provide is, whether it's using the built-in tools, if you have third-party tools, is really, providing an ongoing, either a one-time or more often an ongoing interpretation of that data, so that as you make the investments, whether it's in training or technology, we can say, hey, that it's working, or I need to invest more in this area, or we've met the business outcome objectives that we wanted to in this other area. So it's really the interpretation of all the wonderful data that exists inside Office 365 and the Office Graph.
Nice, nice. I've got my roving reporter, our roving reporter, David. He's got some questions coming in the chat. Let me just pull him in, and let's go to David. Why can't I see David? Hang on a second.
Did I do something wrong? Is it because I'm live and you were not live for so
Yes,
long?
we were not live. Who thought, hey, that we were actually not live? David, carry on. You talk. I'm going
No, that's
to
fine. People know what I
to
look
bring.
like.
Yeah.
Kevin, we had about 3 questions today, and I'm going to kind of combine them into one with this, the horrific pandemic that we're living through. We've got the genie out of the bottle for remote working. So a couple of people want to know about, first of all, a lot of people have reported that Teams has been the way that they can survive. That they're in business now and they're able to really communicate, and that's worked really well for keeping business communication going. But it hasn't done the greatest job by itself, and it's not the tool's fault, for keeping the camaraderie going and the connections with employees. So the first question really is do you see development in the platform or development in your advice on how to use it so that we can start to have those friendly conversations around water cooler moments and family and pets and things that make us feel like we're connected, as opposed to just the team down. And then the other question is, there was an interesting chat online over the weekend, which we do every Sunday, AB in the AM, around 5 years out. A lot of us believe 5 years out, again with this genie out of the bottle, there are going to be a heck of a lot more people that just don't bother, knowledge workers that don't bother commuting to an office. And what are you seeing and hearing about that in terms of will home workstations be set up? Do you think that's going to be a long-lasting trend? Do you think most people will go back to the office, or will they rely on tools like Teams and the Teams product to make sure that there's this equality between remote and in-office workers?
Yeah. Okay. So you covered you put a lot into that question.
I only get
That's
one
good.
shot, so I wanted to get it all out.
No. There you go. So definitely, I think that we are all learning together how to use whatever tool, whether it's Teams. Certainly some organizations have looked to Zoom because it can do more video squares than Teams can do, and they find that that's useful. Um, Regardless of the tool set, I think there's a lot of learnings in terms of how do we drive engagement, how do we build and maintain our culture in a distributed workforce. So I think that there is going to be a lot of experiments and inside organizations. I'm seeing a lot of a lot of good ideas, and things are working, or things are working partially, and then they're refining those. But regardless of the tool set, I think the technology is going to evolve. I think with Teams, one of the things it's got going for it, and certainly a few weeks ago there was Microsoft Build. It's a real platform. So I think there's a lot of developers who are saying, what add-ins can I create for Teams to foster this engagement? I don't think that there's a standout or a perfect answer yet, but I do believe from the polls that I have seen, and some of the work that I've done around visioning sessions for the future of work for these large enterprises, because they're trying to make these strategic plans and investments. A lot of people are saying, as you said, David, the genie's out of the bottle. I have better work-life balance when I work from home. That's not everybody, of course. Some people, their home situation doesn't lend itself, but certainly I've seen many individual organizations doing polls where it's the majority of people would elect to work the majority of time or all the time remotely. So I think that that is what it is going to be. There's a very smart lady, Zabine Herji, who is an advisor on the future of work. And one of the thought experiments that I like that she had people do is she said, imagine that the special request is if you want an office right. So the normal right now, it's like you got to go through there's different rules on how many days you can work from home depending on the organization you're in. That's the special request. And and I do think that 5 years out for many organizations, that's where we'll be. So you'll be expected to be able to work from home, especially as a knowledge worker.
And perhaps
And
counterintuitively, that's going to require conference rooms in enterprises to be better equipped for collaboration, because you're going to need to be able to collaborate with remote workers much more than you have before.
Absolutely. And I think there's also going to be opportunities for things like persistent video, so that you can feel, imagine that it's like there's a window, in the office. Maybe there's some persistent video tiles where I can see, the people remote while I'm sitting and having lunch, if we're allowed to do that ever back in the office. So, but absolutely, I think as well as in the remote locations, I think we're gonna, people have been making do, but I think with lighting and acoustics and all of these things, especially for more senior people, if they're working the majority of time, you may actually put some type of a meeting room so that they can have those, certainly if you have a board meeting or executive meeting, you want to make sure that everybody can be heard and seen.
Nice. We need to get Jose out and go on to that. I was going to ask, so where can people find out more information of what you're doing with this great the service that you provide and all the metrics and the services, and where can they hook you up?
Yeah, so the best place is just go to www.enableuc.com.
Okay.
And there's lots of information.
So I know you're on Twitter and LinkedIn, so people can find you there.
Yes.
All good. Thank you ever so much, Kevin, for joining us. You're welcome to hang around. We're going to get Jose out now to show off our new Teams room system, and we'll get him to talk us through that. Oh my word! I've switched about 1,000. We've done it. So I don't know what to say. Clearly, it's not faked unless someone set up a load of Google accounts while I've been talking and registered a load of YouTube accounts. Thank you ever so much for everyone watching. If you're watching on the record as well, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. So we do this every week. Jose, you've got a big one to follow there. Let's cross over and bring him up. Here he is, Jose Mateo. The one that you're in Atlanta at the moment in a remote house, socially distancing, I believe.
I am, and excited though to be here. Excited about your 1,000 followers. That's awesome.
And I think the main event is obviously not me, not you. It's not the wetware. It's the hardware. I think is what everybody wants to see this afternoon. I teased it a little bit. They've seen obviously Ilya and Tom had a great webinar last week where they kind of introduced us, announced it. I know Takeshi's obviously put some content out there, but what I really wanted to do was to get you to go into the nuts and bolts for our partners, our resellers, and our customers to see exactly what we're doing with this new MTR solution, and really kind of setting the bar with regards to those Teams room systems for customers when they go back to the ringing rooms. Can you kind of open a little bit and talk about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe you could put a slide up
Yep.
that shows. So we launched the other day with, of course, with Ilya and Tom. We're launching with these two top models. So you see the bottom one says shipping fall, and that's kind of US fall, by the way. That's
I was going to say, can you translate that for the Europeans on the call?
Yeah, that's going to be the second half of this calendar year. But at the launch, you'll have the Poly G10T, which basically comes with that GC8 that I'll show you here in a second. That's for kits that might have existing peripherals, as the slideshow says. We know that Trio for us was a huge success. A lot of people had the collaboration the collaboration kit and all of that. So the idea is if you want to convert that Trio sort of into a native room, you would effectively buy this Poly G10 kit. You would put plug your Trio and your camera into the back of the compute there, and we would go at it from there. And then we'll have what I'm demoing here, or what I'm showing here, which is the Poly G40-T, which comes with the compute and the GC8, and then the Poly Studio that I've got here behind me. And that'll be good for anything from a small room all the way in through to a medium room, and whatever the camera distance is that the studio can cover. And then for the large rooms, we'll have the Poly G80-T, and that'll ship a little bit later this calendar year. And the great thing is there you'll be able to put our brand new Trio C60 on that, along with the Eagle Eye Director 2, to be able to cover very large rooms. But all with the native Microsoft experience. And that's a key thing too there, Neil, is native, right? We know that Microsoft is making a big push for native, and rightfully so, because they can control that experience. So why is native important? We've got sort of the experience that Microsoft drives from a richness. I think I sent you some slides on that as well. So we've got the richness of experience, right? Consistent, no matter where I am. From room to room, I look and feel the exact same way. And the interesting thing, so we did that on our collaboration bar that me and you demoed a couple of months back now. But you'll have the same meeting experience across all of these devices. That the same media enhancements, and then also the ability to manage this from the Teams admin center is super important. And then other things that are really important to the users today, which is being able to walk into the room. And in the world of COVID that we're living in, people want minimal touch surfaces or very low touch experiences there. And so what Microsoft has done in their future thinking is be able to do something like proximity join. So that means I could bring my own mobile device, fire up Teams from here, and it'll recognize that I have an MTR in the room, and it'll allow for me to just connect from my mobile device and minimize the amount of touches that I do on the screen. And the great thing there too is that on top of not having to interact with the control of it, add the Poly Studio technology that allows for you to auto frame and all of that stuff. Now I don't have to touch the device to muck around with my camera or anything like this. So really, really exciting. Share my content from here, do all of that stuff as well. So yeah, man. With that, seeing is believing, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you what I've got going on here.
I'll put you up in full screen so everyone can see what you got there.
Awesome. So at the core, I've got the Poly, the middle one, right? The G40-T.
Yep.
On the screen, what you'll see is the GC8, which
So this is the touch panel. This is the kind of main controller that sits on the table as part of the kit.
Correct, exactly. And on the back of it, it's just two cables, basically power,
Yeah.
for the powering of the device, and then the USB-C to fiber that goes to the back of the PC that I've got back there connected.
Because I was going to say a lot of the MTR solutions that are out there in the market, they're kind of a bit of a kind of wiring, knitting of wiring of all the different cable connections that go between everything. So we've got a kind of literally a single cable from the table back to the compute by the screen. Yeah.
That's right. And if you can tell, right, I guess let me move this over just a little bit and make it even. I mean, that's it, right? That's as simple as it gets. You basically have sorry, I went down too much. But basically, yeah, you'll have the GC8 there, the whatever size screen the customer might have in their room. And then for us, we've got it connected with the studio there, right? And so very simple. Again, the software here is MTR, right? So I click in the meeting, and now I'm on the call, and I'm off and running, and all that good stuff. Everything works. I'm the only one here in the meeting. So all the controls are from a software perspective, an MTR is an MTR is an MTR, but we will also have our own image that will be built here that has the device drivers for our systems and all of that stuff, as well as as well as the ability to. It's me. Sorry.
That's all right. Good. It's all good. It's live. Live unboxing, isn't it? We're not. I missed the graphics earlier, and it said not live, but this. We really are live, and we really are demoing this live. So. As part of the bundle, then you get the GC8. Obviously, that it looks very similar to the TC8, but there's obviously more connections and more kind of power, and it's doing more stuff than the basic TC8 that you get with a collaboration bar. We'll kind of talk about that in a second. Okay, great. Yeah. Let's. This is real time demoing here. You need your glamorous assistant, I think, to help you. I don't know where he is.
They're outside
having a cocktail.
So on the TC8, I've got the Ethernet port right here, and that's basically it, right? And then this pairs over Ethernet to the either the one of the X30, X50s, or to our G7500 codec. In the Microsoft world, and I've got this guy connected. Camera up back there if you want. In fact, let me do that.
All right.
So on the GC8, the difference is that you'll have sort of a. I'll take the bottom of it here so you can see it.
Got your lens cap on. There we go. Coming. Yeah. There we go. That's good. Yeah.
On the GC8, you can see it's a little bit different there. You'll have cables that can come out of it, and let me pop this little thing out here.
You should get a job on QVC, Jose. I think you're wasted in solution architecture.
A good hand model as well.
You're an amazing hand model. All good.
So this is house power, right? That basically you get your power from whatever source there.
Sure.
And then you got one single cable that goes to the back of the PC.
Nice.
These cables that are here are if I want to do HDMI ingest and share my content rather than running an HDMI cable all the way back to the PC, wherever that might be. I can just have another cable here and just come into the laptop.
Oh, right. So that's in the back of it. So I know a lot of the other solutions that are out there have like a USB to HDMI adapter cable and things like that. So we're going straight into the back of the panel with HDMI from your laptop.
Correct. Nice. And then the other one is USB-A. So if I want to put something like one of our Callisto speakers or even the Trio, I can do that right there. And then rather than running USB all the way to the PC, wherever that may be mounted, I'm simply right here. So, and then this kind of buttons up really nicely. I can, it's hard to do with one hand.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. But that's got all this cable clamping on there. So again, from a neatness point of view, you've literally just got a single cable from the panel back to the compute, which is a fiber cable, and that can be quite a long cable, presumably, on that.
Correct. Yep. And so let me turn my.
Yeah, I've lost your video. There you go.
Yeah, no, that was me because I'm yanking around the. so much. But yeah, turning my video back on.
There you
Sorry.
go. Got you back. That's all good. All good.
Yep.
We love a bit of live action. Again, we did a pre-record last week, but live is good. So you talked a bit about the compute as well. It's not just a kind of PC, is it? So it comes in a frame. I don't know if you probably can't show that because it's kind of mounted, but there's a kind of proper frame that all the power and the thing. Again, I'm not. Don't.
I do. Let me.
Don't break it. It's fine. Don't break it.
I do have one. Give me one sec. Hang on. Turn my camera off again so I don't buzz. Where's the base kit there, Bob? Yeah. So
come on, Bob, earn your money here. We've got Bob Knopf. Everyone who knows Bob Knopf, video maker extraordinaire. He is there helping Jose. There he is. Look, hang on. Let me bring you up in full screen so we can see you. There he is.
There's Bob. So then this will basically go, attached to, the PC will be wall mounted.
Nice.
And then, this will kind of cover it in. It does a really good job of keeping hands outside of the cables.
You get those fiddlers, come in the room, start
in and kind of figure out what's going on there. So rather than having people mess around with that, we will, effectively lock this guy into place. It'll go either behind the television, under a table, or up against the wall with a wall mount plate, and then the PC will be sandwiched sort of in here.
Great.
And yeah.
And we're selling this as a complete kit. So again, obviously there's going to be resellers watching this. The prior thing, it was a kind of bundle in the channel. But this is, you buy a G10 or a G40, you get everything in the kit from Poly with support, with maintenance, as a single part number globally available, yeah?
That's exactly right. And then support as well, right? So that's important because you don't have to say, well, who do I call for this and who do I call for that? You call Poly, and we not only support obviously our own hardware, but we've got the support contract with the PC as well. And if we need to go out and do any type of hardware swapping out of a motherboard or anything like that, we can go out. It's on-site support, 3 years of on-site support, which is fantastic.
Awesome,
Yep.
awesome. And you mentioned we kind of touched on collab bars and MTRs, and the two are different things. And there's a lot of confusion in there. I know you sent me over a slide to kind of cover this off. But can you just, if I bring the slide, can you just talk the viewers through that? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yeah. So they're asking us constantly, like, which one is right for me? What's the difference? And look, they're both running the native teams room, type of systems. The one that's on the left there, my left is, I guess everybody's left. It is the single screen only solution, right? It's based on Android, so it's a different application that runs on that. It doesn't come with the same rich UI that you saw here on the interface on the touch controller. It's got what we would call like a virtual remote. Effectively, what we've done is worked with Microsoft to come up with a remote control application that you would normally have a remote for. People don't like remotes, so we put that on the TC8 so that the customer can then just kind of navigate through their calls on that. This is really for a personal or a small room type of solution. No, it's not meant to be the one solution for everything. That's what MTR is. If they want the richest, most flexible experience, the MTR is going to give you that. The other thing also is that the MTR supports Skype for Business out of the box. It supports Teams out of the box. It also supports, it will support soon other vendors like Zoom and WebEx. Microsoft announced that at Ignite of last year. Whereas the collaboration bar won't come with that. I'm not sure if it's on their roadmap or not. But for right now, it's Teams only.
Yeah.
And so those are the big differences there. The MTR gives you something like the content camera. It fits in the small, medium, and large rooms. As we mentioned before, it's just more of a rich Microsoft's flagship room solution, and we're proud to have one in market now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go and grab David. I think we've got some questions coming, so I'll get David back on the floor, and we'll go to Q&A. We're going long, but I think there's some great content here, and as I say, if people want to hang around or get this on the recording. So, David, what's been going on in the chat?
Well, it was one question. Everybody really loved when you gave the demo of the controller of the MTR GC8, right?
GC8, yeah, GC8,
and
yeah.
they asked the question about the HDMI input. Can you connect one of the Microsoft content cameras, the one that allows that invisibility, to that port, or does that have to connect somewhere else?
So that's a great question. So that's a USB camera, right?
Okay.
Which effectively going into the USB port. Think about the USB-C connects back to the controller, or I should say the controller connects back to the USB-C, to the PC over USB-C. So it would be just a USB-A repeater, if you will. Now we haven't, now in candidness, because we have just started with this, we haven't tested that, but I don't see why that would be an issue of plugging this in. It's just a USB-A peripheral.
Okay, so we should probably try that, on a future show, and show people for like 30, 40
Yeah,
seconds.
nice.
Once we play with it and see it work. Anything to make me or Neil invisible is cool,
Absolutely.
All good. And I know obviously we can't speculate on Microsoft roadmap or features or anything, but the collab bar software is coming very soon, I believe. Obviously, keep an eye out for that software. Again, it's not our software; it's Microsoft software, so it's not for us to speculate on dates and stuff on that.
I've been intimately connected with that, as you know, my team kind of, this is what we do here. But so we've been in tap. Our customers have been in tap. We've gotten some really good feedback, and we've adjusted. We've made some changes to our hardware to make sure that software runs really well on our stuff. So we're very close to getting full certification on that, so that customers will start deploying this. The great thing there too, guys, is that a lot of people, it's called a Microsoft Teams room or a collaboration bar, but these things can be leveraged at home.
Oh yeah,
in fact,
totally. Yeah.
all of the folks that are testing it today are testing it in their home offices because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we don't want you to think that it's not a good experience or sellable or consumable by an executive at home, or somebody who wants more of a rich experience, a hands-free experience in their home.
Oh yeah, X30 and a 27-inch touch monitor is absolutely stunning, and I might actually try and do something about that on a future show. I was chatting with a monitor vendor about getting a really nice touchscreen that we could do something around that on a future show. So definitely watch this space on that. I know that you've got obviously one of the units there, and you're doing some filming, hence why you're with Bob. And I believe there is a unit coming over to EMEA as well for your SA team. I think Vincent's going to have one over in EMEA very soon, so we can hopefully start to.
Just got it today.
There you go. Awesome. So we're going to have one in EMEA. Anyone who's watching in Asia Pac as well, I'm hoping, again, we'll get one over there. So we will. Oh, beautiful. This is great timing. Awesome. So we have got these units in region, so we can start to do some virtual demos of this new MTR solution for you in region. And obviously you'll be able to start getting your hands on these devices very soon to start to build up as your users go back into the office in either that hybrid kind of part home, part office, or as say when they're ready to go back full time in the office, you can have the latest Poly solution. So you have an option for an MTR solution with native teams. You've got the collab bar with native teams as well, and also not to forget, we still have the cloud video interop service, the Real Connect service. So if you've got legacy devices or traditional SIP or 323 devices or immersive telepresence, you want to bring those into that Teams world that Kevin was talking about earlier, and we've kind of touched on now. I think we're potentially, as far as I know, the only vendor that can provide the collab bar, the MTR, and the CBI from a single vendor solution and wrap it all up into that single offering. Jose, have you gone?
And don't forget the audio there as well, right?
Oh, the phones, yeah.
And the phones and the headsets certified for Teams. I mean, we cover the whole gamut, which is fantastic. That's the power of Poly.
Awesome. Jose, thank you ever so much for doing this live with us this afternoon. I know you've got some more filming to do with Bob. Bob, thank you for letting us borrow Jose if he's there. A great job, and we'll get Bob on at some point onto the weekly news in the future for sure. I'll let you get back to it, David. Thank you ever so much. I'm going to bring this to a wrap, and we'll catch you guys next Monday. Thank you ever so much. So we went long, but I wanted to cover it off. It's a big thing at the moment. Teams is huge. It's growing. We are absolutely there at the forefront, as Jose said. Native headsets, native phones, native collab bars, now a native MTR solution and a Real Connect solution. There is no other vendor on the planet that has our solution for MTRs and for teams out there. Thank you all for watching. Again, we do this every Monday, 3 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. CET, 10 a.m. Eastern. It would be great for you to come on as a regular basis. I've got a link in the description if you want to add it to your calendar for a reminder. Make sure you hit that subscribe and the bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Phew. Thank you ever so much, Kevin.